Okay, today we're going to be doing the read aloud, think aloud strategy. Um, I have chosen a selection from The Great Gatsby, which is a novel I very much enjoyed in high school. Uh, this strategy is very useful for students whose reading comprehension level may be below grade level, or if the text is above grade level that they're reading. So um, I have chosen The Great Gatsby. Obviously, Fitzgerald is kind of a hard writer for some students to grasp because he uses a lot of sarcasm and other other kind of subtext in a lot of his writing. So I thought this would be a good choice for this strategy. I'm going to just go ahead and dive into this little snippet. Uh, the suggestion was distasteful to Gatsby. I don't think there's much gas, he objected. Plenty of gas, said Tom boisterously. He looked at the gauge. And if it runs out, I can stop at a drugstore. You can buy anything at a drugstore nowadays. So there I put in a comment. Tom does not mean to imply that a drugstore actually has gas. Tom is trying to irritate Gatsby because he knows Gatsby's fortune comes from illegally selling liquor in drugstores. And this is among this upper class set that Tom and Daisy and the rest of them are a part of. For him to have gotten his money from drugstores is from selling liquor in drugstores is very it, low class, sort of, to them. It's new money. It's garish. Uh, a pause followed this apparently pointless remark. Daisy looked at Tom, frowning, and in an indefinable expression, at once definitely unfamiliar and vaguely recognizable, as if I had only heard it described in words, passed over Gatsby's face. So Gatsby understands the remark where no one else does, and he doesn't quite know how to react to this. And I know I didn't leak a comment there, but I think that's important to note that Gatsby, of course, realizes what has just been said, while everyone, the others are all puzzled because they don't quite know about it. Uh, Come on, Daisy, said Tom, pressing her with his hand toward Gatsby's car. I'll take you in this circus wagon. The car that Gatsby owns is large and yellow, and so continuing his sort of uh, assault on Gatsby's character, he's referring to it as a circus wagon. Uh, he opened the door, but she moved out from the circle of his arm. You take Nick and Jordan. We'll follow you in the coupe. She walked close to Gatsby, touching his coat with her hand. Jordan and Tom and I got in the front seat of Gatsby's car. Tom pushed the unfamiliar gears tentatively, and we shot off in the oppressive heat, leaving them out of sight behind. Did you see that? Demanded Tom. See what? He looked at me keenly, realizing that Jordan and I must have known all along. You think I'm pretty dumb, don't you? So here, Tom is realizing that he may be the only one that knows about Gatsby's past, but they know something too, and that is that Tom's wife, Daisy, is in love with Gatsby, and Tom is accusing them of realizing that he doesn't realize this, even though they're not really coming out and saying it. They know this, but they don't want to tell him, but they don't want to make things worse by talking about it. Perhaps I am, but I have an almost second sight sometimes that tells me what to do. Maybe you don't believe that, but science. He paused. The immediate contingency took over him, pulled him back from the edge of the theoretical abyss. Tom realizes that he is getting sidetracked by this conversation and needs to focus on, driving this car and, what's going on in the present. He wants to get back to the discussion of his wife, even not meander off into discussions of how he knows, more what he knows. I've made a small investigation of this fellow, he continued. I could have gone deeper if I'd known. Do you mean you've gone to a medium? Inquired Jordan humorously. This implies that his obsession has led him to seek answers from some mystical sources, so Jordan is poking fun at at Tom by saying that he's kind of gone off the deep end and is pursuing avenues of investigation that aren't legitimate. What? Confused, he stared at us as we laughed. A medium? About Gatsby? About Gatsby? No, I haven't. I said I'd been making a small investigation of his past. And you found he was an Oxford man, said Jordan helpfully. An Oxford man? He was incredulous. Like hell he is. He wears a pink suit. In Tom's opinion, an Oxford man would not dress in a loud, non-traditional color like pink. They would be brown, black, gray, very, very normal, traditional colors for a man to wear. Nevertheless, he's an Oxford man. Oxford, New Mexico, snorted Tom contemptuously, or something like that. Tom is saying that Gatsby did not attend school at Oxford, because he's making a snide comment that while he may have gone to some place named Oxford at some point in his life, it was probably not the school. Listen, Tom, if you're such a snob, why did you invite him to lunch? Demanded Jordan crossly. Daisy invited him. She knew him before we were married, God knows where. We were all irritable now with the fading ale. Their buzz is starting to drink off. That's a nice way of saying that. And aware of it, we drove for a while in silence. Then, as Dr. T.J. Eckelberg's faded eyes came into sight down the road, I remembered Gatsby's caution about gasoline. We've got enough to get us to town, said Tom. But there's a garage right here, objected Jordan. I don't want to get stalled in this baking heat. Tom threw on the brakes impatiently, and we slid into an abrupt, dusty stop under Wilson's sign. After a moment, the proprietor emerged from the interior of his establishment and gazed hollow-eyed at the car. His eyes aren't actually hollow. His eyes look very tired. That's what is implied there. Let's have some gas, cried Tom roughly. What do you think we've stopped for? To admire the view? Again, Tom is portraying himself to not be a very nice person. Gas stations are not known for their beautiful views, but it isn't really polite to say such things. I'm sick, said Wilson without moving. Been sick all day. What's the matter? I'm all run down. Wilson is tired and run out of energy, is what he's saying. Well, shall I help myself? Tom demanded. You sounded well enough on the phone. With an effort, Wilson left the shade and support of the doorway and, breathing hard, unscrewed the cap of the tank. In the sunlight, his face was green. He looks pale, sick, or unwell. He doesn't literally look green. Some people do when they get sick, but this is probably more. He looked very unwell. I didn't mean to interrupt your lunch, he said, but I need money pretty bad, and I was wondering what you're going to do with your old car. How do you like this one? Inquired Tom. I bought it last week. He's lying. The car is Gatsby's, as we've already established, but he's toying with Wilson for fun. He's not serious. It's a nice yellow one, said Wilson, as he strained at the handle. Like to buy it? Big chance, Wilson smiled faintly. No, but I can make some money on the other. What do you want money for all of a sudden? I've been here too long. I want to get away. My wife and I want to go west. Your wife does, exclaimed Tom, startled. She's been talking about it for 10 years. He rested for a moment against the pump, shading his eyes. And now she's going whether she wants to or not. I'm going to get her away. The coupe flashed by us with a flurry of dust and the flash of a waving hand. What do I owe you? Demanded Tom harshly. Okay, so Wilson has decided that he's going to move and take his wife with him without consulting her. He obviously knows what is going on between Tom and his wife, because his wife and Tom are having an affair, which is talked about earlier. But Wilson does not realize yet that Tom is the person who his wife is having an affair with. So Tom, while simultaneously being upset with his wife for being in love with Gatsby, is being hypocritical because he's also having an affair with this gas station owner's wife that lives down the road from them. So that is the read aloud, think aloud strategy. Um, I hope I've addressed the ability to. It's a decent strategy, especially for if you're reading aloud in class, a short story or something like that to help students with who have problematic understandings of similes, homophones, sarcasm, anything that would go maybe over their head. I think it would be very useful for. Uh, Thank you.